Reading fluency is an important part of becoming a good reader. Reading fluently involves several characteristics. First, we want to make sure students can read at a good speed. When students can read at a good rate, it typically means they aren't having to focus on sounding out words. This means they can focus more on what the text means. Part of this is reading smoothly at a natural pace, meaning that students are reading at a similar rhythm they would use when talking. Another quality of a fluent reader is paying attention to punctuation, pausing at periods and commas, and noticing question marks or exclamation marks. This helps them to read with emotion, which is another quality of a fluent reader. Reading with emotion is a sign they are making meaning while reading. If your student needs help with fluency, there are a few easy strategies you can use. The first strategy is echo reading. For this strategy, you or another fluent reader should model in small pieces what the text should sound like when read fluently. Then, the student echoes you by reading the same piece, trying to match your model. Continue doing this until you finish the text you've chosen. For example, let's look at this excerpt from last night's reading of Toys Go Out. We'll start on the second paragraph. You would start by reading, "Truths about what?" asks Plastic. Then pause to let the student echo you by reading the same part. Then continue from there. "Just truths," says Stingray, positioning herself proudly in front of the books. Then allow your child to repeat you. Typically, a sentence at a time is appropriate. If it's a long sentence, you may want to break it into smaller chunks. The second strategy is choral reading. This strategy involves you and your student trying to read the text you've chosen together at the same time. While reading, the student is trying to match your pace and inflection. The third strategy is repeated reading. For repeated reading, the student reads the same text multiple times, each time attempting to improve their rate, pace, or inflection. In between readings, it is helpful to give them feedback on a way they can improve the next time. If your student isn't pausing at periods, you may give them that feedback and ask them to try on their next reading. Or, going back to this excerpt from Toys Go Out, if they didn't read "Truths about what?" with the inflection of a question, point that out to them and see if they can do it next time. Your student may want to time each reading to see if they can improve as they go. One thing to keep in mind when using these strategies is knowing your student's reading abilities. If your student is just learning to read, especially in kindergarten through second grade, using an excerpt from Toys Go Out is probably not the best tool. These strategies should be used with a text that the student can read independently or close to independently. You can use any piece of text to practice. It doesn't have to be lengthy. Try having your student pick their favorite part of the book or chapter they may have read that day. If you aren't sure what text would be the most beneficial for your student, his or her teacher can help. Also, don't feel like you need to use all three strategies every time you read with your student. One strategy at a time is fine. Don't forget to share photos of your family reading Toys Go Out together on Twitter, and be sure to tag us. You can also send a photo to your student's teacher on Class Dojo. We hope you'll join us again tomorrow.